I went to see the new Spider-Man No Way Home film this week.
So, talking about remakes, so how much is worrying about remakes a bit pointless when because there's a wider problem where, I mean, you call it a problem, maybe it's not a problem, but I feel like you can't, every single movie now that comes out, say it's not a remake, it doesn't fall into that category, but it's still gonna be something like, it'll be, you know, meta, where it's sort of serious movie, not a parody, but kind of sending up the genre it's doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Or it will be like, not specifically Tarantino, but he's an example where his movies are homages of genres.
Yeah.
And then like comedies, say it's like a teen comedy, it might be having like, it's quite big right now for lots of genres to be nostalgic about the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end thing, and 10 years ago it was the 70s, and 10 years time it will be the 90s.
Yeah, Stranger Things example.
It just feels like more and more movies coming out are, there's always an angle where it's harking back to movies that have already been made. It's very, maybe it's always been like this, but it feels rarer and rarer where
there's a totally original idea.
Which is always going to be rare in general, but it feels rare and rare where someone's even trying to do something original. And maybe it's just a fact that, you know, loads of people are trying, but you got to actually get funding.
Well,
get millions of pounds of funding.
And
maybe it's just harder. Maybe it's harder because when so many ideas have been done, how the hell are you supposed to come with something
Let's be honest, and the studios will be playing it as safe as they possibly can.
Yeah.
100. There's not many studios. Got to think now, Declan, we're in the midst of or we're coming to an end, however you see it. We've been in the midst of a global pandemic and everyone's taking a hit. So the studio's going to risk putting millions behind something that they're not sure is going to work.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why this sort of culture is at the moment expanding. Maybe hopefully when this kind of gets back to normal, which I don't know how many years, we might see kind of like newer, more original stuff, trying to take a punt on not those indie directors you said, but like scripts, basically, like scripts.
Ideas.
Yeah,
I don't know, because like we were saying before with the streaming giants and stuff, the new thing seems to be buy an existing franchise and then milk it to death.
Yeah.
It seems like, you know, Disney have announced however many fucking Marvel TV shows, however many Star Wars TV shows, Star Wars spin-off movies. Amazon bought the rights to, I don't know if they bought the rights to all Tolkien materials, but they bought the rights to the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
and I think they bought the rights to the Silmarillion as well. So I think they might be making something on that. But they're making huge big TV shows. And they're going to, assumedly, like I'm assuming it'll be harder for them to do that because it's still, I think it's still owned by the Tolkien estate, but they have rights to certain things. But they'll be trying to plunder that and do the same thing. And I feel like it's going to become that where the streaming giants will start to eclipse the studios, and it will become, because it's already become like that with the studios where it's just about what franchise you own.
Yeah, basically.
Someone's going to try, like Amazon right now, actually Prime are trying to buy the rights to James Bond. If they do that, there'll be spin-offs of like 009 and fucking him on his little adventures. Or 006 and she'll be fucking going around shagging fellas and shooting people. And that's just where it's headed, where they know they've managed to completely turn it into a product. And we're kind of sounding a bit bleak here. I find it, from a purely business point of view, I actually find it really fascinating. Like what Marvel did, where they made so many different movies in a franchise and how they tie it all in together from a business point of view is amazing. Like it's amazing accomplishment. I don't like the movies in particular. I like the big ones. I'm saying as a accomplishment is impressive.
I agree with that, Declan. I totally agree with that. But I want to go to the cinema and I want to see new shit. I want to be like, right, this was a very interesting concept. It wasn't a franchise, and this is something that very impressed me.
Yeah,
like, do you remember when you used to go to see those? I'll give an example, like those low budget kind of films, like Dead Man's Shoes or something like that. Like, I know it wasn't particularly a fresh idea. It was kind of like a spin on Get Carter, where, you know, his brother got murdered and he went to like. But it was good filmmaking. I don't like. I like to see gritty stuff.
Well, do you know what? Yeah, but
like,
that sort of films can still get made. What about stuff like The Revenant or Birdman? Two from the same guy, but that's that mid-level.
The Revenant was a book, though.
No, but what I'm saying is that I'm not talking about. Sorry, I'm not talking about remakes for a second. I'm talking about like what you're saying, where it's that does take a budget. It doesn't take 200 million like a big blockbuster.
Yeah,
but it takes
yeah.
like 30, 40.
Oh, easily.
And that's the bigger, the more difficult film to make, to take a chance on. You can take a chance on Dead Man's Shoes, throw him like $500,000.
Yeah.
Give him a camcorder, who cares if it doesn't make any money?
I'd like to see the budget on that, to be honest.
It was probably less than that. It was now. Because that was made straight after he made Once Upon a Time in the Midlands, where it was the only studio movie he made, and I think he hated it, so it was more as a reaction
I've seen
to
it.
that.
It's that guy from the Full Monty.
It is actually. I really liked it. I thought it was
and
a good
it's
little
like
movie.
people running around as clowns, like
I don't remember that bit,
random film.
But no, I quite like that one. But yeah, it's just you do want to see those movies. You do. Like do you know what? You just want to see variety. You want to see interesting movies coming out. You want to see different sort of shit. You want to see edgy fucking movies. Like that sounds like a bit of a I don't know, like a loaded word to throw out, but you want to see movies that take chances and are a bit weird and offensive, or just you know, a bit strange, like Birdman. I keep going back to that for some reason.
I love Birdman.
It's just coming to my head, but that's a weird fucking movie that takes some weird chances. Is a bit goofy.
Because we saw that in the cinema, didn't we? And it was like...
Yeah, it was fucking great.
It's one of those films that I know nothing about before. Well, obviously, I saw, like, you know, the posters, like, 4 stars, 5 stars. And then we was like, oh, do you want to... You know, you had your everyman cards. It was like, oh, should we just go and watch this kind of thing? And then, like, it starts off with all on, like, a single take in it on a dolly the whole time.
Most of the films like really long take.
Jazz drums.
Yeah,
like,
and it's just.
I'm like, this is beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
If you go and see a movie and it's got 1 or 2 moments where you're a bit like, oh, I've never really seen anything like that before.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's perfect. Like, you don't need the whole film to be different or like because it's impossible.
Yeah,
really.
exactly. Yeah. But every time I turn on the TV, Declan, like, I know Marvel's a big thing now. I'm with you. I'm kind of like, I get why people love Marvels, but now there's some new one out with some geezer in it. Like, I'm like, what is going on? Every time I turn on the TV, like,
to be fair, even I'm getting the sense that people are a bit sick of it. Not necessarily even the old fans, but
no, we know people.
I feel like they're going to have to turn around and start rebooting the old characters again because they're trying to bring through this new wave of Marvel characters and they just look like, I'm not a Marvel fan, so maybe people love it, but they just look shit. Like, they look fucking terrible. Like, they just don't look like you'd want to go see that as a, like, when it's Spider-Man and it's
origin
and it's Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. That's, even I don't know anything about it, but I'm like, oh, it's Iron Man, I might go see that. These new ones just look crummy.
I to be honest, Declan, I didn't even bother with Iron Man, like, I'm not going to lie. But this brings me to another story. So me and Dad are, like, off tangent a bit. Me and Dad were in the pub last week. We had a few beers. And then he's just come back from Sandwich, Kent. And he's like, oh yeah, we went around.
The place is called Sandwich.
Yeah, there's not really much to do there, but there's a cinema. So they're going to have the new James Bond film. And they've got the new Spider-Woman film. I'm like, sorry? No, he's like, Spider-Woman. And I was like, do you mean Black Widow? He's like, yeah.
I was thinking
I thought it was Spider-Woman. And I was like, I don't think there is a Spider-Woman. But on the same point, I'm not really sure I'm like too excited about... We're not talking about remakes here because it's James Bond and it's a franchise.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailer for it. I'm not feeling excited about that either.
No, I am excited about it. Do you want to hear my conspiracy theory, which I stole from someone else on it?
Yes.
Of why they've been pushing it back so much, and from the very beginning, they kind of announced that to be pushed back before any other movies got delayed.
Yeah, go on.
At the start of COVID. I reckon the villain's big thing, you know, there's always like he's stolen nuclear warhead.
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to be a biological virus or something that the bad guy's using.
I think he'll be. Who Javier Bardem was the last film, wasn't he?
No, I think I didn't actually watch it. I actually really like James Bond. I'm looking forward to the new one. I really like Daniel Craig. I do kind of think they should have brought in a new Bond by now. But I do really like Daniel Craig. But the Skyfall, actually, to be fair, going off on a tangent, did you like Skyfall? I fucking love that movie, but a lot of people hated it. I really liked it.
Is that when they're like in the cottage in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, it ends
that
there.
was good. That was good. And then M dies.
Yeah,
no, that was a good one.
As
that
well.
was a good one.
Like, it was a different sort of James Bond movie.
You could even talk about I knew I had a fucking tangent to this. You could even talk about Casino Royale being a remake, because there was one originally, but it was a spoof.
That's a fucking good book. That's like a classic.
It's so retarded.
That's a classic.
It's like
it could only have been made in the 60s sort of movie. That
do you know there's like
remember it ends with Woody Allen?
Yeah,
and he kills anyone over the height of 5'5" or something because he doesn't want any tall men.
Do you remember those films where it's like Carry On? Get in the bus. It's like that or something like, and Carry On Camping, and then Barbara Windsor.
And there was that naked. It would always be that noise like ooh.
Yeah.
When someone's tits would fall out.
And I was watching it. I was like, what? Is this a remake or is it a spoof? Like, because Casino Royale, the one with Daniel Craig, was sick.
Well, do you want to hear something heavy? And I can't remember what other movies this director has made, but the director who the director who made Casino Royale, who basically launched that series of Bond, he was also the director of Casino Royale, the new one.
Right, cool. Yeah,
who launched the Daniel Craig Bond series.
Yes,
he also directed GoldenEye, which launched the Pierce Brosnan ones. And
didn't realise that.
In modern times, they got to be up there with the two best Bond movies.
Yeah, I
like GoldenEye and fucking sick, Casino Royale. They're two...
GoldenEye when he like jumps off the fucking dam. And the game.
They had the music,
man. He had the game as well on N64 when you used to run about.
I don't know if he had anything to do with that. The game was amazing.
That's just nostalgia again. Like that's why I was saying it.
All the cheat codes where you couldn't make the guys have big heads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the thing what I used to get, we probably can do a whole podcast on James Bond.
Yeah.
Like what used to piss me off, he used to be like, in the old style things, he used to be running about. There used to be like 100 people shooting him. Like he'd just be walking and all the bullets were like pew pew like behind him, and like then he'd just push a toaster into a bath and go, "Oh, shocking!"
Yeah,
like,
it's funny when you watch some of the old ones. Like,
what's going on here?
Like like out of context, like in a serious movie, some of the one-liners and jokes he would say after taking a man's life, would be like that of a psychopath.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, what are you doing?
But like, how he used to dodge about 100 bullets, like without even running.
Well, that's why Austin Powers, that's a movie. That's a movie where I'll never rewatch as an adult because I know I'll hate it. I just want to remember it as a nostalgic kid.
I rewatched the other day.
Is it still good?
It's so fucking
Oh, maybe I'll watch it. I've always been scared to watch it as an adult.
Shagadelic.
But I just loved, he'd always do that where he would fire twice and like 20 guys would drop to the floor dead.
Yeah. Judo chop.
Judo chop.
No, it's fucking jokes. So, tangent again, going back to remakes. Is there any films that you have on a list that you would want to see remade?
Well, I said Maximum Overdrive earlier, and to be honest, I was trying to think. Like the other day, I was thinking of loads. I really can't remember any of them right now. What about you?
Wasn't we talking last week about the Warriors? That could be a shout.
No,
I was. TV.
I don't want to see it remade, but I was saying that I was shocked that it just feels like, considering it is like we talked about already, that the age of taking an existing successful
yeah,
premise or
idea,
movie
yeah.
or something that's iconic. Doesn't even need to be good. Just something that's iconic, and something will be like, we're making. It's like, let's make a TV show out of the Karate Kid, and let's do this.
Yeah.
It's I'm just surprised that
That's a good.
no
idea.
streaming giant. No, that's already happened.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just surprised. I was surprised no one's come along and done The Warriors as a TV show.
Yeah. But I personally, Declan, would be like, obviously I could get all these, cards that you've got or Harry's got that.
What do you mean?
The cards that you get unlimited shows.
Oh right, yeah.
But I never really got into that even before COVID happened. Maybe it'd be a good idea now the cinemas are reopening and a lot of stuff are coming out. But I'd fucking be fuming if I went into a cinema and saw a shot-for-shot remake film. I still stand by what I said, like, took 4 months.
Yeah, the shot-for-shot thing is just
it's
ridiculous.
just bullshit and lazy, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, it's just like, why?
and a piss take. Because, let's be honest, cinema tickets now are like 14, 15 quid if you don't have that fucking card. Like.
But also, there's something about making a film where, like, sometimes a film is kind of nearly accidentally good. Like, things just kind of happen.
Yeah.
Like, things get improvised. You film it in a certain way and it just works for what the story... Do you know what I mean? Like, films are sometimes everything should be going for a movie. It has a great cast, the premise sounds cool, the director's
and then it
good.
doesn't work, yeah.
And it just doesn't work. And all the ingredients on their own are good, but they just don't work together for some reason. And then a director... and a couple of actors, they might never be able to repeat the success, but for some reason they work for that.
So an example
movie.
of that could be, like, just grasping at straws from inside my head. This is Spinal Tap. Like,
Yeah.
the mockumentary, the way it was shot, the actors all together.
Yeah, like,
imagine
someone came along and said, we're going to do a shot-for-shot remake of that.
I'll be
Like,
no
you could
chance.
absolutely have everything look the same, even film it on the same type of cameras.
It just wouldn't work. The
But
chemistry.
how you're not going to capture the same magic. Like, it's just not going to work.
Have you ever seen...
And it's just redundant.
Have you ever seen this... I was watching with my dad the other day. It's so fucking funny. A film about hockey called Slapshot.
Yeah, not for years though. I
It's
might watch that
so
again, actually.
fucking funny. It's like... And then they kind of like remade that with like... Do you know that geezer from American Pie?
It's
called
yeah.
The Goon.
The Goon.
Yeah,
Is that any good?
No, it's shit.
I
It's very bad. Very, very bad.
Going off on a tangent of a tangent, he was someone... Was it Tyler Scott something? Something like that. He was also in, obviously, American Pie, and he was
Yeah.
He was in Evolution, that movie.
Oh, he
that?
was, yeah. That's decent films.
I always liked that guy. He was one of those guys where I was kind of sad when he stopped getting parts.
Wasn't he in that weird film where like he arranges parties in a uni dorm?
I don't... Oh, is that...
or Road Trip? He
was in Road Trip.
Yeah,
he was also in Final Destination. Do you remember he gets his head cut off by the train?
Yes.
And that was also... I like that movie... well, I like Final Destination in general. But I liked him in that because he played sort of like a dork pussy sort of character. And it was the only time I ever remember him seeing him playing a different sort of character or getting to play a different sort of character.
Yeah.
And I remember... There was an interview with him a few years after he kind of stopped getting roles where he was saying he constantly tried to get different sort of roles.
Oh,
He saw himself as a bit of an
He's
actor.
typecast, man.
But he just couldn't. And to be fair, like his best stuff was in those roles where he was just being sort of a goofy, funny guy.
But if I'm talking about one film I believe that can never be remade because the premise was so genius in the first place. And I know we talk about this film loads of times, and it's probably a film that I want to review later down the line because obviously me and my dad love it as well. Galaxy Quest. So.
Yeah, I've never seen it as well.
What?
No.
Jesus Christ
Never seen
almighty. It's basically a film. I'll give you the premise of it. They just rinse
No, don't tell me anything, I'll just watch it.
Yeah,
we'll do it. We can do it as the next one if you want.
Oh, it's just like they're rinsing a certain...
It's a remake.
No. They're rinsing it. They'll never be able to remake it because it has the perfect cast altogether. It's got Sigourney Weaver and Alan Rickman in it, in a comedy.
Yeah.
They just remix. They're just rinsing a certain sci-fi program, basically, in the film.
Don't they have the cunt from Home Improvement as well?
Yeah, Tim Allen.
Tim
yeah.
Allen. I love him.
It's so fucking funny, man.
Right, now, just to play devil's advocate right at the end, I'm going to throw out some movies
Right.
that completely sort of shit over the whole point, at least I've been making, I think you've been making the whole time, where there's certain movies that when you get a movie really right the first time and it's brilliant,
Yeah.
then there's no need to remake it. But
Cool.
these are remakes of those movies that were actually brilliant, in my
Okay.
opinion anyway. So Cape Fear.
Right, so
Have you seen the original or have you seen the remake?
I've seen the original and I've seen the remake with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Which Simpsons take the piss off when he keeps stepping on.
Yeah. Yeah, with thingy, Sideshow Bob.
Which always brings
stepping on the rakes.
Would I say that's better than the original?
It doesn't have to be better, but my point.
Is it a good
My
effort?
point is, well, it's like in my opinion, the Cape Fear remake is brilliant and as good as the original, and there's no argument I can make where just for the sake of that it's a remake and the original was good.
Right.
They should have remade it.
So should we say whether we think the remake was better altogether?
All right, yeah.
I'm gonna go. Survey says Cape Fear, like Gladiator. You can't see my thumb up or down. I'm gonna go Cape Fear. The remake is better.
Really,
Yeah.
I don't. See, the thing is, if we're talking just on enjoyment level, I do have to say, I enjoyed the remake better.
The remake.
Yeah, it seems
Right.
a bit unfair for the fact that the original film did all the work. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it came up with the idea and then you
Then
just
it has De Niro
did it.
in it, and then it has like...
Yeah, but it's just better. Like it is better. It's just amazing.
So
and also, they changed it enough. Like in the original, he was his lawyer and he was angry that he was the lawyer that prosecuted him.
Yeah,
And in the remake, he was his own lawyer, but he didn't do him a proper defense because he knew he was guilty.
Yeah.
And it's enough of a twist where you nearly kind of... It's a smart reason to do the remake.
I was saying, are we talking about good remakes?
You were saying Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11, sorry Declan, yeah. Obviously, the original one was with the Rat Pack, weren't it? Like Sammy Davis and fucking Frank Sinatra. Then
The original one was... Have you seen it recently?
No.
I watched it for the first time maybe like a year ago. And I tried to stick with it, but honestly...
it's slow.
No, it's not... Slow wasn't the problem. It's dog shit. Like, in terms of the actual... Like, you're watching it and its selling point is purely just the cast. You're like, oh shit, it's all them together.
Yeah.
The actual scheme, like, there's no like, twist of how they do it. There's no big thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember exactly, but it's pretty much like they just get someone who can break in and they break in and steal all the money and then go and that's it.
They just go around like, yes, this would be a great job.
Yeah, there's no like
big reveal.
There's no big
heist
reveal.
or,
There's no twist. There's nothing. Ocean's 11, good remake.
But then they milked it 12, 13, fucking 14, 15.
No, I didn't watch any of the other ones. Were they any good? To be honest, I didn't watch the remake
Neither
for
have
the first time like about a year and a bit ago.
I haven't rewatched any of them. I've only watched Ocean's of them.
Ocean's 11, good fucking movie. Better than the original.
Yep, so we'll put
And
that
the
down
original
in
is
the bank.
iconic, so that's one
Put
for
that
the
down
new
in the
remakes.
bank. Bum bum.
Okay, here's one. The Fly.
Yes, so the remake, with Jeff Goldblum.
Do you know, this is a little bit unfair, this one, because I wouldn't say the original one's considered like a classic. It's considered an iconic classic. I don't think it's considered like a great movie. It's a good movie, I really like it.
Remake's a remake, man.
The
It
remake,
needs to be
though,
discussed.
the remake is, in my opinion, fucking sublime.
Goldblum.
Oh.
Yeah. Great film, man.
Everything, from the practical effects, the premise, like, you actually believe... Like, when he says it when she... You know, because he brings... I can't remember the actress, but he brings the journalist back to his house to see it for the first time. And that's how the audience is introduced to the transport technology. And when he's saying he didn't create everything, he more... You know, greater men than me have created all the individual pieces. I just knew how to put it all together. And you do believe, like, yeah, he is the kind of wacky, probably maybe a bit autistic genius who would somehow make this a reality.
Yeah, that was definitely 100% a certified better remake, man.
Oh, it was fucking brilliant. And you believe, like, that could happen, like, the way he slowly mutates and transforms into the creature.
Hopefully not. I'm already scared enough with the pandemic, so I don't want people to be turning into
What animal, if you had to go through the transporter and join forces with an animal?
I'd take it if I'd done all this shit, I wouldn't have to like do nice social responsibilities like working or...
I mean, you're within 2 months you're going to be a horrific half-human hybrid thing, so I wouldn't worry about that.
Basically that anyway, so... So maybe...
You do it with Usain Bolt.
I would, basically. I would be half me, half my top body, and bottom legs, like Usain Bolt.
You'd be a centaur of Usain Bolt.
Like a retarded minotaur kind of. No, but back to the original question. What would I want to be? Obviously, like, if it was it going to be like a sort of like, imagine if it was like a nuclear attack where basically like a plane flew over from another country, dropped bare shit on, and everyone had to like morph into. Obviously, there'd be like retarded things like rats.
Rat boys.
Yeah, I want to be like...
I wouldn't want to be a rat boy.
Like a tiger, like mixed with...
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
That'd be sick.
Maybe an octopus and I'd have 8 arms. No, I'd have 6 arms and 2 legs.
No, you can't say that because we don't live anywhere near the sea because you die.
Okay, so it's got to be like something... Well, where are you
it's
near a tiger?
Realistic.
Where's the nearest tiger?
London Zoo.
Alright, well, I'll run into the fucking aquarium.
Right, okay, cool. That's true. No, but I'd want to be something that was king of the whole...
To be honest, I'd join with a gorilla. A silverback gorilla.
That's good. That's good.
And I would look like me, but with a gorilla-shaped head. So I'd be really ugly, but still sort of look like a human, but my body would be as wedged as a gorilla.
Like, yeah. I get that. We're off tangent here. Well, ideally, I would like to be a shark, to be honest.
Alright. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now I'm talking about the 70s remake, not any of the bullshit that came after.
Right.
So the one with Donald Sutherland.
Well, the 70s remake is the best by far.
I actually think the 50s. But I fucking love the 70s remake.
Right.
But for me, the 50s one, or was it the 40s? But the original is a perfect movie. They're as good as each other, so I got to give the edge to the original just for being the original.
Yeah. No, I the 50s is good. The 50s one is good.
Here's the thing I like in remakes as well, is when they have a nod to the original.
Yeah.
You know how the final scene of the original is he's running through the streets screaming, like knocking on car windows saying like they're coming.
Yeah.
The opening of the remake has a man running through the streets knocking on windows. He knocks on their window.
Yeah.
And the actor is the actor from the original movie.
Oh, okay.
As an old man now.
Oh, right, that's good stuff.
Yeah, so I like little nods like that, but yeah, for me the original's the best.
Yeah, I'm going for the 70s. I think the 50s one is a bit kind of like...
Do you know what? You could nearly give it to the 70s one for the Donald Sutherland scream at the end.
Yeah. Like, as you said about Ocean's 11, I think the 70s one is just a bit newer and better kind of thing. Well, I know that obviously you're saying that the Ocean's 11 one was different altogether, but kind of just prefer like newer kind of films.
Yeah, I get that. You finishing your beer?
Yeah.
Sweet. No, I'm not saying hurry up. I could just see you going on Uber, so I wasn't sure.
Well, I wanted to get cigarettes. So
okay. Have you ever seen the Blob remake from the late 1980s?
No, again, not going to lie, I've seen the original.
Well, check it out. It's one of my favourite... Not just remake, like favourite movie. Definitely one of my favourite 80s horror movies ever.
Yeah.
Great little fun 80s horror movie. Completely like sending up all the 1950s sort of horror movie tropes, sci-fi movie tropes from that era.
Yeah.
And just a quality little film. Good at subverting your expectations as well. Like, it really sets up, I don't want to spoil it, but it really sets up a certain character who you expect to be the main character throughout. He's kind of like the jock who does the right decisions, but also he dies really unexpectedly in the first half an hour. And it's like the blob, when the blob's still probably only about the size of a person, it lands on him from the ceiling. And you just see him like melting away as his girlfriend walks in. But it's because I don't know what it's rated. I wouldn't say it's rated an 18, probably not rated a 12, but
15 then.
Yeah, like no, but I mean it could.
It's,
you know, one of those films where because of how it's quite violent, but because of how it's violent, it could be a 12 or an 18. They can skirt the line sometimes.
Kind of like Indiana Jones is quite violent. But
and it's violent. It's violent, but it's cartoonish violent. Like, you know the way like the censors sometimes they go by
bloodshed.
They go by like the colour of blood.
Yeah.
Can decide if it's a 18 or a 12 sometimes, and how you do it. Like nearly being overly having a bigger kill count can sometimes get you a lower rating because it becomes silly past the point. Do you know what I mean? But The Blob, great little movie.
Right, so I'm going to add that to my watch list.
What's your favourite remake ever? Okay, actually, hold up. If you get to be a director on one movie and you get to remake it.
You could go on and on though, but are we talking about films that...
Films you love, films you thought could have been good.
Am I talking about films that I think that would be...
Just something you'd love to remake? I'll tell you my one.
We're talking about a broad range here, because obviously if we're talking about films that I would like to remake, a film that I might try and remake now...
Sorry, I just noticed that.
Yeah.
When did we steal this pint? Because that's from the top of the road. That pub's only reopened recently.
Ages ago. A film that I probably wanted to remake might just bomb. Do you know what I mean? Am I talking about?
No, forget that. I'm talking about. It doesn't matter if it. You know. This is your imaginary film directing career. It can only be one movie long if you want. I tell you my one. I'd remake that terrible Dragon Ball Z movie.
Do you know, that's a good shout. Do you know what I would really, really like to give 100% to, which I know that would fail? The Lost Boys.
Why would that fail? That'd probably fucking...
Because I reckon, modern day, you could do that sickly. I don't know exactly the right...
So how would you do it? Where would you...
I don't know,
No, but roughly off the top of your head, how would you change it up? How would you set it in the modern day? Sort of
maybe on Skid Row in Crackenville or something.
No, that's actually a good setting.
Hear me out.
So you're saying Skid Row?
Hear me out.
The big homeless area.
The homeless people go missing slowly but surely.
Oh, I like that actually.
And then someone comes along and this isn't murderers, this is vampires. It just goes from that.
Do you know what? I actually like that because do you know what movie I would? I'm thinking of loads now that I think about it. Have you ever seen Chud?
No.
So it's this old 80s horror movie. It's really goofy but quite fun. Again, terrible movie really, but a really cool idea where it's these...
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically in New York, these mutant, I think it's toxic waste, mutated humans. Basically The Descent, what The Descent was probably based on, but crawling around the sewers. And they sneak up and snatch people and bring them down to the sewers. But I'd love to remake that, but sort of set it like that. A mix between that and do you remember that old documentary Dark Days? Where it's all those homeless people in that old abandoned subway station. Sort of mix it up like that, where it's from the homeless people's point of view.
But the thing is, if I remade it like that, Declan, I'd lose the edge of comedy about it. So it would have to be...
Nah, the edge of comedy's there if you want it to. Or even if it's darker, you could just make it a black comedy.
Yeah, obviously no one would miss homeless people, so it'd be it'll be basically cops running about there's no murder, there's no murder weapon or fingerprints or anything, and it's just and then
that actually sounds quite... Have you ever seen Mimic?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's quite similar to that.
I don't know if that's exactly where it came from, but...
No, I'm not saying you stole it. I'm not saying you stole it.
Do you know, subconsciously you have, like, thoughts in your head? That's how I try and...
Do you know what, Phil? That's why there's so many fucking remakes.
Yeah.
And we'll end it there.
Yeah. Perfect. It's lovely, mate. Cheers.